Hello, I'm Connor, and this is a YouTube video. This is my Soul and Funk vinyl tag response for 2026. So before I get started, I wanted to give a shout out to Harvey, whose YouTube channel is Spin the Black Circle. He's actually a good friend of mine. He's from the northeast of England, which is where I live. He put the questions together for this year's vinyl tag. The Soul and Funk one, which probably my favourite genre. About 30% of my collection's funk or soul. So there's already been some great responses as well from other YouTube channels, so you'll have to check those out. But yeah, let's get into the questions. There were some quite tricky ones. It's kind of highlighted a few gaps in my collection that I'd quite like to maybe focus on in 2026. So question one is the best new soul release of 2025. So I'm going to give my number one answer, and then I've got a few runners up as well, just because I find it really hard to choose a number one, and I think there was some really good releases in 2025 as well. So my number one is this Kendra Morris album called Next. Kendra, if you don't already know, is on Karma Chief record label, which is part of Coal Mine Records. I'm sure a lot of particularly modern soul and funk fans will have heard of Coal Mine Records. A really great label, some fantastic releases this year, and this was, in my opinion, the best of them. I've really liked Kendra's music for a few years now. A lot of great albums. I'm not sure how many this is, but she's been pretty prolific in the last couple of years, and this one's really stood out for me. It's the Coal Mine exclusive version, which came with some dice. It's kind of like a gatefold where you can like play a game. I haven't actually played it yet, but it came with some dice for that, which was cool. And one of the songs on here, If I Called You, was probably my favourite song of 2025, or definitely up there. So yeah, that's my number one of 2025. Runners up, this album was actually Harvey's number one in his response to his own vinyl tag, and it's this Olivia Dean, The Art of Loving. Yeah, really good album, so I had to mention that one. This was the Blood Records exclusive pink version, which is pretty nice. So my recording stopped halfway through my last response when my iPad ran out of storage, and I hadn't realised till the end. So here I am in the new t-shirt, finishing the rest of the questions. So another couple of runners up for my best new soul release of 2025 is this Mike Farris album, The Sound of Muscle Shoals. I've seen Mike Farris quite a few times, probably the artist I've seen the most actually, and he's so talented. He's done a bit of everything. He's most well known for gospel. His gospel album, which won a Grammy, but he's also done blues rock albums. Yeah, just great voice, great musician, and a really nice guy as well. Actually, he signed this for me at his last show, and this album's more of a soul focused record with some really good songs on. His cover of Tom Petty's Swingin', which isn't typically a soul song, but his cover of that is great on here. So that's the runner-up. Final runner-up for my soul release of 2025 is this Young Gun Silver Fox new album called Pleasure. I got to see them last year as well, and they signed this for me. A bit more on the yacht rock side of things, but really funky. And the lead singer Andy Platts has got a really soulful voice. So yeah, it was another close runner-up. Question 2 is my best used Funk or Soul find of 2025, and it's got to be before the 1980s. So my best find of the year overall, the one I was most chuffed with, was this Lee Moses, Time and Place. And if you know what this album is, and you're getting excited, probably it's not an original, unfortunately. It's a 2016 reissue, because the originals go for thousands, and I'll probably never find one of those, but I'm even just over the moon to find this reissue. Found it in a record shop in Norwich, so yeah, I was happy to find that out in the wild. Bit of a cheat because it's a reissue, so it wasn't technically made before the 1980s. So if I had to give another answer, I'd go with this Jackie Wilson album. I Get the Sweetest Feeling, which obviously has got the banger on, I Get the Sweetest Feeling, which everyone will know. But really good album as well. I was happy to get that one. Question 3 is a Funk or Soul 7-inch that wasn't a top 30 chart hit in your country. So this is kind of one of the areas in my collection where I want to focus on it a bit more in 2026. Picking up 7-inches, I just never normally bother looking through the crates. But New Year's Eve, I was in a pub, and there was a couple in there playing like reggae and ska 7-inches, and they had a really impressive collection, and it just made me a bit jealous. So yeah, I'm going to try and get more 7-inches, but out of the few I do have, I went for this, again, Young Gun Silver Fox 7-inch, Moonshine. And it's actually a song, so the lead singer of Young Gun Silver Fox, Andy Platts, wrote a song with Rod Temperton, who is a bit of a legend, a soul legend. Obviously played a part in Heatwave, and wrote loads of other soul classics, worked with Michael Jackson. So that's a pretty cool 7-inch. And then the B-side is Tip of the Flame, which is the two main guys from Young Gun Silver Fox. Question 4 was quite a tricky one. I had to do a bit of research, but the question is, so a 70s Funk or Soul album that was produced by a 60s songwriter or artist, and I've gone for this Diana Ross solo debut album. Not hugely familiar with Diana Ross's stuff, obviously, other than all her big hits. I haven't really listened to her too much, but I'd heard this album was really good, and picked it up for a £5 last year, so was really impressed with it. Some really good songs written by Ashford and Simpson, who were songwriters in the 60s, and then they kind of had their own hits later on in the 80s, I believe. So that was question 4. 5 was best album by a band from your home country, and at first my mind jumped to the Average White Band, who I got to see a couple of years ago, and they were incredible. Got some really good albums. Harvey gave this response as well in his vinyl tag. So what I did, so that I wasn't copying Harvey, was I thought a little bit harder and went for this Jungle album. And yeah, Jungle probably is one of my top 5 artists across all genres, to be honest. They've gone a bit more electronic, I would say, in the last couple of albums. Had a few hits which have kind of got them more well known, but this album Forever, which is the second album, is every song is a 10 out of 10 for me. Every time I hear it, I just fall in love with it even more. This is the indie exclusive yellow version that I got a couple of years ago. So yeah, I'll go with Jungle for my favourite band from the UK. Question 6 was another tricky one. I don't have a whole lot of classic soul, which I need to try and resolve. I've got a lot of more modern stuff. But question 6 was an album by a female soul trio or quartet, and the only one I actually had in my collection, but it's still a good album nonetheless, is this Sugababes One Touch. So not a huge fan of some of the bigger hits, but this album's actually got some really good tunes on it, and you can tell how talented they all are vocally. So question 7 is the best soul or funk band that I've ever seen live, and this did take some thought as well, but in the end I went for JJ Grey and Mofro, who are probably the best artist I've seen live across all genres. Again, one of my top 5 artists ever, probably. Bit more blues and rock in there, but like such soulful music as well. JJ's voice is incredible, and the band, when I seen them live in Manchester last year, there's about 10 of them on the stage, just all going for it, and then you've got JJ's voice, and they also have two backing singers, female backing singers, who are insane as well. So yeah, probably the best band I've ever seen. And this came out, they finally pressed this album, Orange Blossoms, on vinyl in 2025 for Record Store Day, so I was happy to get that. Question 8. So imagine you're friends with a total rock supremacist. What album or single do I play to convert that friend to soul? And I've kind of gone on a real experience, actually. So a lot of my friends are rock fans, probably not supremacists, but they also listen to rock, indie rock and electronic music. And an album that I introduced them to, and I still to this day they play songs from it because they appreciate it, is this Black Puma's debut album, self-titled, which is a phenomenal album, one of the best from in the last few years. Bit of kind of psychedelic rock kind of in there, which I feel like is a good way of converting a rock supremacist, I would say. So yeah, that was question 8. Question 9 is a soul 12-inch from the 1980s or 1990s. Another kind of gap in my collection, I would say. Not a whole lot of 12 inches. But I went for another artist that I got to see in 2025. Really good show. Was this Billy Ocean. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Classic tune. Yeah, not much I need to probably say about Billy Ocean, but yeah, he put on a great show, despite being a bit older now, still dancing around the stage. So I was glad I get to see him. Question 10 is a soul or funk album with a track that lasts in excess of 8 minutes. So this was a bit of a tricky one as well, actually. A lot of modern soul tends not to have these kind of long masterpieces that like older soul albums had. So I haven't got a whole lot in my collection, but I went for this Rose Royce in Full Bloom. The song on here is Do Your Dance, which is 9 minutes 15. not a whole lot to say about it. It's a good album, and that song's really good as well. Kind of bit disco in there, gets quite like spacey electronic as well at times. So yeah, that was question 10. 11 is your single and you have a promising date arranged. What album do you play to get you in the mood for romance? And you weren't allowed to go with the obvious of Marvin Gaye. So at first I thought D'Angelo. That was kind of seemed almost as obvious as Marvin Gaye for me, but because I want to stick to albums that are picked up in 2025 as much as I can, I went for this really good album, along the same sort of lines as D'Angelo, like really good neo soul, kind of smooth, funky music with like silky vocals. Really good album. Is this Amp Fiddler, Waltz of a Ghetto Fly. Found this in a record shop, and was over the moon. I'd been looking for it for a while. Sadly, it's slightly different to the version on streaming, and it's missing a couple of the better songs. But yeah, I was happy to find this one, and yeah, that's definitely anything in the same vein as D'Angelo is good for getting in the mood for romance, I would say. Final question. What is the greatest soul or funk album ever made? And I went for this, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On. Probably the main album that got me into traditional soul and funk. One of the first records I bought that was not just like modern funk and soul. Obviously one of the greatest soul singers ever, and this is one of his albums that's definitely up there for his best. Inner City Blues was kind of one of the songs I fell in love with when I was really young, and when I was just first getting into soul and records in general, actually. So yeah, that was the final question. So thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Peace.